Hello there, men, women, xenomorphs, whatever you are. Welcome to Low Frequencies episode 3, and tonight I have a pair of extra eyeballs just to mess with your head. I couldn't resist trying out the double eye tutorial that was going around the internet. In this episode I'm going to be talking about the issue of political correctness, and specifically the issue of people increasingly wanting to ban words because they're supposedly oppressive. Short version, what the hell, stop being idiots. And I will get to the long version now. For most of my life, I was one of those annoying people who would pester others not to use politically incorrect language. Initially, over a decade ago, when I was about 14, the argument that words shape thought, how people think, and therefore if you change what words people use, you can change society, it seemed like a good one. And there's a small grain of truth there. Language does influence how people think. For example, in Russian, where there's no single word for blue, but rather they have the word sinyi for dark blue and goluboy for light blue. They are actually better at distinguishing shades of blue. Likewise, the Himba of Africa have no separate words for green and blue, and they find it much harder to see the difference between green and blue, whereas we can do that easily. However, this little grain of truth has been blown up to an unreasonable extreme. There's been an increasing push lately to ban words in all sorts of contexts, and more innocuous words, not just the rude, disrespectful ones. It would be reasonable if they only wanted, say, to ban really vicious racial slurs, but that's not what's happening. University of Wisconsin, Milwaukee, America, now want to ban the word politically correct because it's supposedly a sort of violation. It's a micro-violation somehow. The word trash is also seen as oppressive. Melissa Harris Perry of a US TV show thinks the word hard work is oppressive because it's insulting to slaves who had no choice but to do hard work. She even picked on the word painful, unless it's used in its literal sense, because then it's supposedly oppressive to people who actually are in physical pain. So now, if you watch a movie and it's complete rubbish and you say, that was so boring, it was painful, you're oppressing people. The You Don't Say campaign also went to this extreme. They're banning slang phrases like kill me, claiming they make fun of suicide. Never mind that most people are quite reasonable, intelligent enough to know the difference between slang words and mental health issues. On Tumblr, there was a list of words going around that were supposedly oppressive, and one of them was the word ass. I shit you not. The word ass is supposedly oppressive to black people because they use it in their slang. Never mind that backsides feature in swearing and slang in almost every language. And reading about all this, it became clear that word policing doesn't make the world a better place. It doesn't mean that people undergo some transition where you change the words they use and so you change their mind and then you make the world a better place. It simply leaves people barking up the wrong tree. It simply leads to more word policing, more jumping on the PC bandwagon, or you just annoy people. What does all this fixation with words actually do for anyone? Is somebody going to be talked down off a bridge because you refrain from saying the word kill me? No, unless there's an actual mental health worker up there. Last year, I think, there was a drive to get people to pledge not to use the word retard. At the time, that seemed reasonable enough. Yet what is it doing for anyone? Recently in Mayo, Ireland, disabled people in institutions were being sat on, slapped, pinched, having their joints cranked. What did all this messing around with words do for them? So you said you would never use the word retard again. You probably posted on Facebook about how you were taking the pledge never to use that word. What did it do for them? They're still being sat on by some 200-pound brute. In theory, people can care both about major issues and minor ones such as words. But in practice, what tends to happen is that people get stuck on the minor things like words and phrases and nitpick forever about what should we call this? Is this word oppressive? Is this word erasing some obscure group of people somewhere? And while you're farting about with words, Rome is burning. I think it's much better to forget about words and skip straight to actual problem solving. Yes, words might be hurtful or they might promote bad attitudes, but if a city is on fire, you don't quibble about what the correct term for fire is, whether the word red or orange or yellow is oppressive to somebody. You just throw some water on it. And that's something people are forgetting to do. They're getting stuck down the rabbit hole, the tunnel vision of worrying about words and whether they're oppressive and worry about minor things in general and failing to do any actual problem solving. So in summary, forget about words. Just throw some water on the fire. And that's all for tonight, and leave any thoughts you have for me in the comments section.